Today on The Farmer's Daughter, we are going to plant sugar snap peas and snow peas. A little bit of history about peas. Did you know that sugar snap peas were actually not first created, cultivated, whatever you want to call it, till around the late 1970s, which is why now we can eat the pea pods of our sugar snap peas. Before then, we just had our snow peas and our snap pea varieties. So there's a little bit of history or fun garden trivia that you might be able to use to impress your other gardening friends. But let's get down to what we need to do to plant our peas. So the first thing I've done is I have been watching the weather and I have been checking the temperature of my soil. Right now my soil is approximately 46 degrees. You do not want to plant your peas if your soil is below 40 degrees. Your peas simply just will not germinate. And you do not want to plant them if your soil temperature rises above 70, because then the weather and the soil will be too hot to help support the tender young pea plants. They are a cold crop, which means that they do better in the cooler temperatures than when the sun gets really, really hot in your June, July, and August months. So my soil is 45. It's perfect. So let's get started. So the first thing I did is yesterday I cleared out all the weeds and I gave the soil a little bit of extra boost with some of my compost mixture. Peas, naturally, it being in the legume family, will put nitrogen into your soil. So I just wanted to put a little bit of compost in there to help balance out the bed being too nitrogen heavy. So that way all those other wonderful nutrients that the peas might need to utilize are in there. So now that my soil is ready to go, my bed's ready to go, I have dug a trench. The trench I would say is probably about just under an inch deep. So I am going to place my peas roughly 1 to 2 inches apart down that trench and then cover. So I will show you that in a moment. So I did a little prep work before planting my peas. So I took my seed packet, these are the snow peas, and I did soak them for at least 4 hours. By soaking them, just kind of helps prepare loosening that outer shell, as well as helping them germinate faster. And I do find the difference, and I would get a better crop. Now when you are prepping your seeds, you want to make sure that you don't have any of them that are split. So see this seed here that is split? That I will not plant because he will not grow. You can only plant whole seeds. So I have now placed my peas in the row. As you can tell, some of them got a little bit closer than the other. I could choose to go back and place those evenly, but over the years I have discovered that it does not really affect my crop at all, whether I am being super diligent on making sure they are placed exactly apart, because being a little bit close together, they will still grow and climb. And I do have a trellis already in place. I do plant them along my fence, and I put this, it's similar to fish wire trellis, and they will start to climb. And I don't have it, nailed all the way down to the bottom or attached to the bottom, because those young pea plants will grow and grab those bottoms and start to climb themselves. And the ones that do not, I'll be able to train them easily. So now it is time for me to cover them up. So I'm going to just loosely put the dirt back over. So now I've gone through the entire bed where I just planted, and I covered the soil over the peas that I planted. I did a very, when I say very lightly pat down to the soil, just to again make sure that it is kind of mildly even, but I did not pack it down or compact it in any way. That could actually help hinder my young plants from growing. So it is mid-April, and I am rolling the dice and hoping that we do not get another deep freeze. We still may get a light frost or two, but I think that we are past the deep freeze. So I went ahead and did a soft open of my rain barrel. So I have used my water can and filled it with my collected rainwater from already this year's spring rains. And I gave it a good soaking. And I will just monitor this over the next few days and into the next weeks to make sure that they are adequately watered, to make sure that that does not dry out and my young plants can grow. Snow peas are one of my family's favorite things to grow. That is probably one of the first things I started growing in my garden. They are relatively easy to grow as long as you know the few pointers on what to do on not planting too soon or too late and keeping them watered. And one of the things I love about planting this vegetable is my kids will come out to the garden just for snacks. That the family joke is that I really don't know how many peas that I actually really get to harvest, because very few of them actually make it in the house because they are typically gobbled up in the garden or in the yard. And the reason why I love that is it's almost like a family trait. Is as a child growing up on the farm, we had a very sizable garden, as you can imagine. But it was fenced off, and my mother had the rule that when my sister Dawn and I were out playing for endless hours out in the yard and out in the creek, we were not allowed to go in the garden. But we wanted those snap peas so we could open up those pods and eat those sweet little peas, because they were such a yummy snack, and we didn't have to go back in the house, and we could stay outside playing. So we discovered that the fence that she was growing the peas up on was adjacent to the backyard. So if we ate the pea pods that grew on the yard side of the fence, we could harvest them and have a snack and not disobey her, because we did not go in the garden like she requested. But we would have all of the pea shells left over, because remember, they weren't sugar snap peas at that point. They were still just snap peas. So what did we do with the evidence of our crime? Well, we simply went and fed those shells to the chickens, and no one was the wiser. So actually, just this past summer, I told my mother the secret of what Dawn and I had been doing. I think she had suspected it, but getting the confirmation, she just had to laugh and giggle and shook her head and said, "You girls." So I hope your family can also have some wonderful memories starting a garden and planting sugar snap peas or snow peas, or even if you want to go the regular snap peas, they're great to grow with kids.